Hi everyone! So today I'm going to give you a tour of my garden. Wait, this isn't my garden. That's way too much space. Come along with me and I'll show you my small garden. Come see how I've transformed my suburban backyard into a peaceful space for my family. Because tiny or not, I'm making it work. I'm going to start here. I mean, look at that creeping Jenny. Can you believe that? I have sweet alyssum. And then I have a blood good Japanese maple tree, which is doing really good in here. I garden in Zone 7A in southwest Idaho. We moved into this house 2 years ago, and I just completed the garden a couple months ago. Stick around to the very end and I'll show you some before photos. Got some heuchera. This is my shade garden here on the side. Some ground cover there. Irish moss. This is a hydrangea vine, and it has put on so much growth in the last few weeks. This is its creepier. Next year, I believe it's going to leap. Over here, I have another variety of heuchera. It's really beautiful with this pink stalk here. Look at that. I put this in fairly recently, so I think next year it's going to do a lot better. And that's right next to this astilbe, which is not looking too happy, but once again, it was put very late in the season, and I have confidence it's going to look a lot better next year. Hellebore, very odd splay the way it is, but I have another blood good Japanese maple. It's doing really good this year. It's put on so much growth. I have some hostas, which I think next spring, or maybe even in the fall, I might rearrange some things, probably in the spring. Put something taller back there. The coleus, look at that. This corner is just breathtaking. And tucked in between there, we have Jacob's Ladder, which once again, put late in the season, and I think next year it's going to do really good. You can see lots of new growth on there. I'm looking for it. I'm looking forward to seeing this grow. I really like the variegated leaves. I think it's so beautiful. I love having a little bubbler out here to attract the birds. Speaking of which, here's a couple right now. Okay, back to the tour. My daughter's little fairy garden. That right there is 2 impatiens. Yes, 2 tiny little impatiens. 2. I'm blown away. Here we have some clematis on this trellis that only cost $20 at Costco. This is the first year that I planted this, and I have to say, being just a few months old here in my garden, I'm pretty impressed with the growth of it. I'm going to take you around the border. This is about 4 impatiens right here. I planted several. A lot of them died, but look at that. Another clematis. The blooms all just fell off, but we have some new growth here, as you can see. It's creeping over the fence. This used to be in a pot, a small pot. Look how big it's gotten. That's why I put it in the ground. It was just overtaking the pot. And here is a hydrangea, my very first hydrangea ever. And if you look close, you can see the petals are starting to turn pink. And I need to stake these up. I know what to do. I just need to do it. And back here too. I thought I could actually see from the window the pink shade from just the other day. I was like, wait, I think it's turning, and sure enough, it is. One thing I love about living in a zone 7 is having evergreens. This is a beautiful color that kind of breaks things up. Spirea do really good in our zone. We'll see if this Dusty Miller variety gets as big as that one. This is an elderberry, an upright elderberry. It's put on so much growth. The goal out here is to cover this final fence and have a green wall. Got some zinnias. We've got, it looks like evidence that my neighbor's cat was back here. These are coneflowers here. Such a really neat flower. I always like to dabble in some evergreen interest, so we have some winter interest around here, because winters get a little sad around here. Here I have a lilac. My plan is to, once it gets big, to keep it kind of tame, but it will have lots of space there to kind of sprawl out. Mind you, this garden is only, I mean, a lot of these are less than 2-year-old plants. It's a very new garden, has a lot of growth to go. These do really good locally here. I don't know if they're a native plant, but I believe it's a blue juniper. It's put on so much growth since I planted it. This isn't my favorite corner in the world. I think I have to work on this a lot for next year. These 3 in the back are, oh, what's that tall plant? They were beautiful in the spring, not so pretty in the summer. And over here we have another elderberry. These do really great out in our area. I thought it was dead last year, and then wow, I guess not. Look at the growth it put on. It's actually taller than the fence now. But once I said the whole goal is to just get it all covered, I don't want to see vinyl fence out here. Now, this is so huge. This put out orange flowers. They fell off after spring. I'm blanking on the name of this right now. Honeysuckle. When I purchased them, I thought they were the same. Clearly 2 very different varieties. There's some barberry back there. I like to, if I plant those, I like to keep them kind of in corners we don't go in, because they are very sharp and pokey. And believe it or not, this Dusty Miller actually stayed all year. It was like an evergreen out here, which was really surprising. And then arborvitaes, they've put on at least 2 feet of growth in a year and a half. Probably less than a year and a half. Here's our side yard, which who knows what will happen here, but my neighbor gifted me that mulching bin, which I haven't touched yet. This is loved by our local hummingbird, which we can actually see from our couch. It's really fun. And this is ground cover, which once again, this stays green in here all year, even in the winter months. And I just can't believe how few I put here, and the boom, the explosion. I had to trim this back a couple times this summer. I don't remember the name of this, but it will turn a reddish color in the fall. In fact, I see some red leaves right there already. Can you see? Oh goodness. Yeah, right there. And the goal was to put this here so that way we could see a little bit from the window. I don't want to cover the windows, but I want to be able to see a little bit from the window. Dogwoods, they do great out here. A little too great. Don't know if that was the best location for it. And then look at these Helen von Stein lamb's ear. I mean, do you see how big these leaves are? I mean, they're bigger than my hand. 2. This is 2. This is 2. That's it. I grew these back in a zone, oh my goodness, what was California? Central California. I don't remember. Was it zone 10? And no, never did my lamb's ear look like this at all. This is some type of weeping cherry. It's growing really weird. But it has a shallow root system, and it only gets 15 to 20 feet big, which is why I specifically chose it, because it being so close to the house. I mean, whoop, whoop, there it goes. And it's actually almost up to my son's window there. My favorite grass. Ugh, why is that my favorite? I just love it. And it looks like the petunias are a little... whoa, 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 whoa. Did you just see that? My goodness, these wasps are so bold out here. These petunias, just in the last few days, have just kind of gone kaput. They're tired and they're done. But I couldn't believe these. The before and after of this is just amazing. Here I have a little, I believe it's called a tater tot. Once again, I like to dabble in evergreen interest. I feel like it just gives good structure too, because if it's just all perennials or grasses, you just need some structure, and I feel like that really ties everything in. There's a spirea hidden under there. Back over there's a spirea. We just had some snapdragon. This is catmint, which I had heard that this did really good in our area, but I had no idea it would get so big. I definitely need to come in and prune it up, but the bees are so active on it. I don't really have, my window of opportunity to come out and deadhead this is very slim because the bees are just loving this guy. Here we get a daylily and some dianthus. And another one of my evergreens there. Gara. I love just kind of that flowy, whimsical look here. Getting a little crazy. I don't even know what this is called, but it's just the coolest looking thing. It almost looks like it looks like an ocean. Like a sea anemone, or it's something you would find on a coral reef. There we go. And these two evergreens, I actually got these for only $20 each at Costco. Such a steal, such a find. Verbena. And I also have some ground cover under here. Oh, I love that variegation. And I kind of followed a pattern. So it's pretty similar on both sides. In case you're wondering where that trickling's coming from. And wherever I can, I like to add little pops of color. Here's a really pretty geranium variety. This has changed a lot just in the last month. It used to be a lot more chartreuse green. Now it's kind of turning into a darker green. This is Barberry. This is turning. This is Autumn Fire Sedum. And there's a bee right there. She's doing her thing. Yarrow. I love yarrow. I love this little corner. It's probably my favorite little corner. And then another one of my beautiful variegated grasses there. Is it funny? It's my favorite, but I always blank on the name. And that's it, guys. That's a small garden right there for you. Tiny garden, actually, what I would call. I also wanted to show you a bird's eye view of the garden. This is from my daughter's bedroom. And I just love the borrowed view that we get. Just in case you're wondering, I do keep every single one of my plant tags for reference. So when we first moved in here, it was grass from here all the way to the fence, all the way around. In fact, over here, it was up all the way, it had grown all the way up to the window. So I cut these beds by myself, one by one, starting with this one. I did that one, I believe, afterwards. Next. And then this most recent one was connecting this to that. And then the last one was going from over here all the way outside here. And having clay soil, that was not a very fun job. But we did it. Now I also wanted to mention too that when I cut this grass out, I also bermed up this area a bit because we do get flooding from the sprinklers beyond the fence. So I had to berm this up a bit. This area next spring I'll have to berm it up more because it still gets a little flooded. The rear of our home here is west facing, so it gets brutally hot around this time of day actually. And we have not been able to save up yet for an awning, but we have these umbrellas and I'll show you how those help a lot. So now as you see, we have that shade coverage, and being under a canopy doesn't just make you feel more cozied in. Having something over your head, you just feel a little like more secure. These were very affordable without having to spend thousands of dollars on an awning. So we're just making this work for right now. For anyone who's interested and wanting to know where my kids play, because I feel like that's the #1 question I get. Where do your kids play? Well, I think you saw in the beginning where they play. We have this gate installed early spring. Best investment we could have made. It really is like an expansion of our yard that I don't have to take care of or groom or pay property taxes on. So that's a good way to kind of look at it with this small yard. It's a lot smaller than I had envisioned for when we purchased a home out here. We didn't want as big as our last home, but I didn't quite want it as small as this. But you know what? Sometimes life happens and things happen and plans change. And you go, you know what? We're just gonna make it work, right? Because that's what I always do. That's what we always do. We just make it work with what we have. And don't discount a small yard, because you know what? A pro of a small yard is it's extremely manageable, okay? I used to spend so many hours in our old garden pruning, cleaning, leaves dropping from trees, hand watering because we had such an old home that the sprinkler system was very small for what we had. And this allows me to spend so much more time with my family and so much less time out here. So don't knock smaller gardens, okay? And as all of this stuff grows, it'll become almost like a small extension, like a green room of our home. I'd like to actually show you my inspiration photo here. That was my inspiration, and we're really shocked how quickly we've kind of been able to mimic that a little bit in such a quick time. And it's because it's so small and so manageable. If this was large property, it would take years and years, because gardening takes patience, it takes money. And so yeah, very quickly we've been able to bring our little our dream to fruition. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gives you some inspiration and encouragement if you have a really small space, small yard, and just to show you, you can make it work with whatever you have. I hope this gave you some ideas, and we'll see you in the next one.